Don't clap for me, clap for yourselves. Clap for the possibility of a better world. It ain't about me. Signs on this podium says, please do not touch the microphones. They are very, underlined, sensitive. I like to say my first line other than thanking y'all and thanking God for allowing me to travel to so many places in the last 60 days. I like to say I'd rather be hated for what I am than loved for what I'm not. And that's a line that's probably said by many, but I remember it coming off the Big Daddy Kane album, Looking for a Job. Looking for a Job For is the name of the album. And it happened to be one of those albums that was kind of like overlooked, maybe critically bashed at the time. I think it came out in 94, 95. And me listening to Big Daddy Kane at that time, I was like saying, yo, man, not only has he not lost it at all, because a lot of people was like saying comparing albums, and the Source magazine, which was right down the street, had kind of built its magazine to be this, this Bible of hip hop and science, and they had built up this staff of journalists and critics who some of them even sat in classrooms at NYU, and they was just taking Kane's album apart. He should have did this, he should have did that, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck they talking about. This dude is ripping it, and I'm like saying that, about critics and criticism. I knew at that particular time that when a record came out that somebody would toil and spend their time writing, or maybe rewriting, or re-editing, and then finally recording, and maybe re-recording, and the music would probably try to get right, and the producers would try to put it together, and after a year and a half time, they deliver it to a cat who happens to be underpaid and overworked with, at that time, 600 CDs sitting on their desk, having to turn out a critique of an album in one night's listen that was done in 2 years. And I said, there's something wrong with that damn picture. And people are like, well, what are you saying, Chuck? You're saying there shouldn't be criticism? I said, man, even the critics fall off. And they fell off of their game, but not even being able to gather in and take in all that was being delivered. That was, to me, a great, high, that was a high period for the standard of art, especially in rap music and hip hop. There was a standard, whether somebody was talking about, fight the power or fuck the police. And in the 6 years that happened after that, up into 1995, when some of y'all in this audience might have been like 12 or 13 years old and happened to, get your permission passed to watch a little bit of MTV. And we had to spell MTV, EMPTYV, because it was empty V, right down the street, a Viacom network. Then maybe you got a little bit of a permission if you happen to be non-black looking on the television and say, well, I don't know no black people personally. I kind of know a few here and there, but I get a chance to know what black life is like because I look at Snoop Dogg every fucking day. I don't have a black friend. Oh yeah, I touched black hair once when I lived in my small Connecticut town, and I was playing I was a linebacker, and I tackled a guy who was from a black high school, and his helmet fell off, and I touched his hair, so therefore I know black culture. Therefore, I'm waiting for television to tell lies to my vision, and therefore, cable has been a bad thing for a lot of people, because back in the day when it was just like 4 channels or 5 channels in the New York area, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and UHF. And you had to get the most out of what you saw. Now, since you got 700 channels of bullshit, people are more confused more than ever, and actually taking in everything they see and hear and spitting it out as quick as they get it. And it didn't help the culture of rap music and hip hop. And I knew I had to wait to the 48th year of my life to try to come up and rewire some of my talk, I had to wait for a little bit, for the election process to pass in order for me to rewire my conversation, because I give conversations rather than lectures, which I think, you students who sit in front of professors and sit in front of teachers and sit in front of people in the academic circles. You get that every goddamn day. Somebody up there going, integer X, and you be like, what the fuck is integer X? I ain't trying to be no aeronautic whatever. I'm just trying to get up and get here and get involved and get out. So I give vibe sessions and conversations, but I had to wait. So sometimes it behooves you to kind of listen and take it all in before you speaketh again. And most of 2008, although 2008 marked my 17th year on the lecture circuit, and I have to thank Sister Soldier for introducing me to that circuit at that particular time in 1991 on the heels of the first Iraq conflict with the first George Bush. And from that point on, it's been nonstop going to universities, going to school systems, communities, and also prison systems, the prison industrial complex, which is growing bigger and bigger by the day with more and more and bigger buildings that look just as beautiful as this building right here. Now, how the fuck do you explain that? And so it's been a joyful process, and it's been, a blessing, and it's also been sort of a painful process, seeing how things have kind of folded and transformed all from the world of rap. I just finished coming from shooting a pilot for a potential TV show with the great hip-hop god of rap music, the king of rock himself, Darryl McDaniels, Mr. DMC. And speaking with DMC most of the afternoon, we were doing a show pilot where I was doing a show, I'm putting together a show like a one-on-one, like a Charlie Rose, without the hair problem, of course, or the bags under the eyes. But I admired Charlie Rose for the way he just kind of gets to the point, and there's no fluff, there's no whipped cream, it's no, dancing, orangutans and midgets and people going around and exploding, rockets and bombs and chicks on poles and all kinds of shit like that. He's just like, ask the dude the question, the dude got to answer, the woman got to answer. That's the fucking show. Well, me talking to DMC, and we was actually, we getting into it because you have 25 years of conversation we're trying to condense into 1 hour of talk. And we got into talking about everything. And it was a joyful talk. And I was, saying, well, when you look at rap music and hip hop, and usually it's looked at from a testosterone point of view, many people say they love hip hop to the bone marrow. Matter of fact, we have a problem that we're experiencing the downward curve of diminishing returns because the lack of public relation and artist development has come to haunt not only hip hop, but the entire music business. How long can a music business go and ask you or demand that you support it by spending your money, especially in a financial crisis? And even if it's not a financial crisis, if it doesn't give you what it needs to give you deep down in the soul, down to the bone, down to the core, and they ask you to support it by spending your available dollar, how long are you going to support such a thing? How long are you going to support such a thing you know so little about? Where are you getting your information from? The Booty and Thug Network? BET? You got to ask the questions: who, what, when, why, and how. Who the hell are they talking to? When 106 in Park comes through, they tell you that their demographics coming from what? Radio, which is Hot 97 in this town, which calls itself the home of hip hop and R&B. You got to start to ask your question: what the hell does that mean? Instead of all of a sudden waiting for media to tell you what to do instead of asking you what it is. Hip-hop and R&B, my ass. The next time I see somebody call Akon a hip-hop artist, I'm gonna smack them.